Hi, I'm Rachel, and welcome back to Auxhart Gardening. Today is our week 17 garden tour, and there's a lot of stuff going on, so let's take a look. Alright, so we're going to start things off just a little bit differently today. I am sitting on the hill that is above my garden where I planted a lot of cover crops, and I wanted to take an opportunity to take you guys in close to show you how those cover crops are doing, how the hill looks, and a lot of the cool diversity I've got going on. So right here in front of me, I've got a patch of ground that I planted. It's actually really strangely bare, considering all of the stuff growing up there. I think it's probably because this area gets a little more shade than over there, but you can see this is the first of my marigolds coming up, starting to bloom. Over here I've got a basil. That's a purple basil. I don't know what that is. This is another marigold. And if we look over here, you can see another purple basil. The round leaves over there, that's a nasturtium. And then if you look, you see those white flowers right there in the distance. That's a bean plant. And then over here to my right, there's a tomato plant right in there that volunteered. And then a lot of tall weeds further on that I don't know what they are. They seem to be kind of just natural. And you can see we're overlooking the tomato garden here. Everything is looking really lush and green at this point. Got another volunteer tomato right there. And then behind me is the forest of kudzu. I'm right on the edge of where I took it all out earlier this year, and it is still a little bit of a struggle to keep up with it. You can see right here there's a little bit of kudzu starting to grow back. That needs to get pulled. So in this area, I'm not really concerned about whether or not weeds are growing in the middle of everything, whether or not what I planted is actually growing. I mean, I care a little bit, but the main idea was to make sure that the ground was planted, that there were roots in it that were holding up the soil so that it didn't run down the hill and into my bed, which was a little bit of a problem after I cleared out the kudzu. So as long as there's something growing, then I'm happy. Right, so now we are at the carrot bed. And you can see the carrots I do have are looking really nice, but they are sparse. I think I really dropped the ball in terms of planting enough carrots. This spring I felt like I planted too many for this area, so I cut it back some. And I may have overdone the cutting back of the carrots. I think also some of them got chomped. You can see down in here, and I suspect that because I see some of these taller weeds have been chomped. You can see kind of the little tops chomped off right there. Probably a deer walking through, and all of this greenery was not enough for it. It had to go also for a bite of my carrots, so that'll be okay. I may stick some other stuff in here. Maybe I'll do a late crop of beans around the edges or something like that to kind of fill in the space, because right now this is very much empty. The only other thing I have in here is this purple basil in the back corner, which is finally looking really nice actually. Take a look at this lettuce leaf basil. I've been cutting from this and still it looks really big, and it's actually hiding an almost ripe tomato down under there. This is a Rebecca Allen. This would be my third ripe tomato. I'll maybe leave that on the vine for like another day or so because that end is getting really soft. And I just want to say these cracks that you see on the top here, that's probably from all the rain that I've had lately. I feel like I don't have that much control watering my tomatoes because it does seem to rain here all the time. Little showers here and there or big storms. I have only had to water this garden maybe like 3 or 4 times this whole season. The rest of it's been taken care of by the rain, which is somewhat good, right? But also that's a lot of water coming down from the top and splashing up bacteria. And you can see I've had to prune the leaves pretty high up off of this tomato and others because of that problem. But other than that, they look good. Something else I want to talk about is this leaf curl. If you've never seen this before, or if you are seeing it in your tomatoes, this is totally normal. This is just a sign of just a little bit of stress. The plant is protecting itself from the sun right now. And you can see some of the other leaves on here are looking very normal, very healthy, and nothing else is wrong with them other than the fact that they're a little curled up. And these plants next to it, healthy leaves, looking great. I have a lot of tomatoes still, a lot of green tomatoes. I am patiently waiting for these to come ripe. Currently, I have 1.5-ish ripe tomatoes in the house. Not enough for salsa or for sauce, which is the main reason I'm growing these tomatoes. Also, just wanted to show you guys something else. In here, you see those brown spots? I actually don't know what those are. They're only on this plant, and they're kind of only on the shoulders of some of the tomatoes. And I can't find it online what's causing that. So if any of y'all recognize that, please do let me know. In terms of peppers, you can see we're starting to get little baby peppers here on this Zulu. And I've been having some Buena Mulata peppers for a bit now. Lots of nice purple peppers hanging on these plants. But the sweet peppers are moving a little bit slower. The Zulus are the only ones that have really set fruit. And I think they're just a little bit behind. And I'm not entirely sure why, but I think they will catch up eventually. Here we have my single seed challenge, purple Russian tomato. Not quite ripe yet, but it looks like he'll get there very soon. More tomatoes coming in higher up. I'll have to make a video when I do finally harvest, so we can look back at the life of this single seed and talk about why it's important to remind yourself that one seed can give you all of this. My turnip that I let go to seed is still flowering just a little bit, but a lot of the pods are looking like they are mature. They are drying up, opening up, releasing some seeds. So this will need to get cut and dried and seed harvested, similar to how I did the radishes, pretty soon here. Alright, well, let's walk on down to the trellis. Here I've got my cave beans. They've came in and they're starting to dry out. These black spots you see on the pods, I'm thinking that's mold of some sort, because they did start drying out and then it started raining. So not entirely sure how well these beans will turn out. But also, I'm getting more of these noodle beans, these red noodle beans. And I've eaten a few of these. They're actually really quite good stir-fried. I haven't tried steaming them because I've been told that you're definitely not supposed to steam them. So if anybody's tried that and thought it was good, let me know, but pretty sure not supposed to steam noodle beans. We're getting another flush of the cave beans coming on. Beautiful little white flowers. I know they're not doing so well because of the heat lately, but it looks like they are pushing through and trying to get it done. And on the same trellis, we've also got the Malabar spinach, which is freaking gorgeous right now. I haven't really eaten much off of it because it just seems like it's not making enough leaves to really give me something to eat the way a normal spinach would. So right now this is mostly just decorative in the garden, but it is quite pretty to look at. My spaghetti squash are really exploding. You can see they're already trying to escape the bed. And the pumpkin back there in the corner, it is not dying, but it's definitely stunted compared to these ones that were direct seeded. So I think next year I'll definitely plan on direct seeding pretty much all of my squash that I grow. Alrighty, well, we are on to the backyard garden. In these bags, I planted some potatoes a few weeks ago to try and see if I could get a second crop. And so far nothing has come up. and I'm a little worried that maybe they won't come up. I wasn't quite sure if the potatoes that I planted were actually sprouting, so that's probably on me. I think y'all saw last week I moved the herbs kind of up to the front for easy access for dinners. And now all of my sick tomatoes back here actually have fruit on them now. This is the last one to start forming a fruit. All 3 of these are Amish paste tomatoes, and you can see these 2 are quite a bit further along in their fruit production, but still far behind that bed in the back. Probably won't get nearly as many tomatoes from these plants, but I'm like pretty happy with the fact that they exist at all, considering how sick they all looked. So the tomatillos, right here, you can see an arm hanging all the way down back there. Still really sparse in their fruit, and I'm thinking maybe I don't care that much that they're sparse in their fruit, because I tried a fruit and was not impressed with the taste. I still have to give it another chance, trying one maybe a little less ripe, because I was told that maybe letting it get too ripe would be a bad thing. So I'll give them one more chance, and then we'll see. Something has been consistently eating them though. You can see all the little holes. Kind of reminds me of what I would see on something like eggplant. But it doesn't seem to be really stunting the growth of these things at all, because they are reaching out, producing more and more flowers. So among the sea of clover, we have our hot peppers. These jigsaw peppers get more and more beautiful every time I look at them. The newer leaves are coming in nice and white and beautiful, and I'm starting to get little baby fruits coming in. They are just little jewels. It is so pretty. My Sugar Rush peaches, if we look over here, are almost ready to pick. I think I've got some down in here starting to turn. That's exciting. I've been told very good things about these peppers, but haven't had a chance to try them yet. The Anaheims, you can see I've got some bigger peppers down in here and some over on that plant over there. This other jigsaw looking, again, absolutely gorgeous. I think I'll have to grow this every year just for how pretty it is, honestly. I haven't even tried the peppers off of it yet, and I love it. My cayennes are perhaps the farthest along, but they have not set any red fruit yet. I'm waiting for the cayennes to turn red, and these will probably be dried and powdered for flakes, or cayenne powder for cooking, because I use that pretty liberally these days. I would say the serrano and the Tabasco peppers are actually the furthest behind. This is some of the first flowers I'm seeing on the serrano, and my Tabascos, that one over there and that one over there, have not put on any flowers yet. Jalapenos, I've left the fruits that had the bites in them. Oh, well, I guess this one is done. But you can see this hole that I had, and that happened, oh look, this one fell too. So these ones with the holes, I was going to leave them and just cut the top off, but it appears that the plant has decided that these are not viable and has done that for me. I still don't know what does that. I'm thinking it might have been a slug, but I'm not sure. So hopefully I won't have this problem with some of the newer fruit coming in. Check it out. I think that's gonna be my first pumpkin blossom. Oh, and a little spider friend. But yeah, I've been waiting and waiting for this to finally put on blossoms, and I think it's about time. Look at how far this pumpkin has spread. So AC unit was climbing that, so I pulled it out, and here it goes. It's gonna probably take over the rest of my walking space over here. But if I get a pumpkin out of it, it's worth it for sure. You can see I've been dealing with a little bit of pest damage, and I know what it is. It's this guy right here. That's a squash bug. There's some more over here. They are kind of evil looking, and I tried spraying neem oil, but so far that doesn't really seem to work. This is kind of the epicenter of them over here. You can see they killed that vine already. These are my cucumbers that they're killing, and they're just everywhere. I need to get some diatomaceous earth on this stuff ASAP. It's been raining a lot, so diatomaceous earth just didn't seem like an option. Look at this. They're everywhere. Shameless. Shameless. And Mr. Spider, what are you doing? What are you doing if you're not eating squash bugs, huh? But despite the squash bugs, we do have quite a lot of vines going on, and I'm hoping I can get them in time to where I'll still get cucumbers off of these things. But we'll see. Maybe this will end up being a loss and a lesson. Okay, the last thing I want to show you is kind of how the lettuce is going. So these were not really meant to survive this long. They are planted way too close together, and I probably should have been harvesting from them. But they are now going to seed, and I was just going to let them go. A, because I'm a little bit lazy, and B, because I want to see what these flowers look like, because I bet they're going to be really pretty. And honestly, some of the lower leaves are still kind of edible if I decide to pick them. However, this spinach, this is New Zealand spinach, it's supposed to grow in the heat, but it doesn't really seem to be doing that well. I had planted it close because I wanted baby greens from it, and the leaves just never looked that good, so I didn't end up pulling very much from them. And they've just kind of grown small and straight up like this, and they are also starting to go to flower, despite them supposedly being good for the heat. So that's probably not something that I'll do again. Oh, and just look at this weed though. This just grew in my yard. That kind of looks gorgeous. Like, I wish that was edible. Anybody know what that is? I think it's gorgeous. We've got some more coming up in here. I would feel bad kind of pulling it because it's such a pretty weed. Alrighty, and that's the tour for this week. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I will be back with you next week with another garden tour, and hopefully this time an actual tomato harvest. Until then, happy gardening!